Today we're going to look at Psalm 23, and I'm inviting you to see and understand this psalm maybe in a way you have not done before. Very biblically, very messianically. I believe that the Bible is about one story, Jesus Christ. And in a macro sense, it is about the King and his coming kingdom. And Psalm 23 perfectly fits into that. So Psalm 23, the most well-known psalm in the Bible, the most quoted psalm on the battlefield, from pulpits, it has a very tender feel to it. And I think that, not in a negative way, but I think that we have tenderized this psalm to a degree. And we have a view of a shepherd as a tender and loving, caring guide for the sheep. And that is true. But I believe that we're missing out on the warlike theme within this psalm, and let me show you. So this is a psalm of David, and David says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul." This psalm needs to be understood by the intent of the author, King David. And David, as a shepherd, was the kind of shepherd that would kill a lion or a bear with his bare hands to save one of his sheep. That is brutal, decisive action on a battlefield. That's the shepherd that is writing this psalm about his shepherd. So is it tender and mild? No, it's not. This is warlike, this is battlefield, this is hardcore, it's graphic. Let's get further into it. So what David is talking about is ultimately a return to the kingdom, a return to the Garden of Eden. These pictures of lying down in green pastures and being beside still waters, that is looking back at the Garden of Eden. It's also looking forward at the coming kingdom. When King Jesus steps foot on planet Earth and establishes his kingdom in the millennium, we are going to be in this state of Psalm 23. But it does not come through peace. It comes through war. When he talks about restoring his soul, that is a look forward to the resurrection of the soul of David. It's not just about restoring the soul and giving a spiritual feeling of goodness and joy to David's soul, although it is that as well. So, let's get to the war part. If you could, please like the video and subscribe to this channel. We go through the Psalms here. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. When I read this psalm, and I read about the valley of the shadow of death, I'm reminded of another passage where people are led by a shepherd through the valley of the shadow of death. And that passage is in Zechariah 14. Let me turn over there for you. Zechariah 14 and the preceding passages in it, they talk about the shepherd that is going to lead his flock. And he is going to lead his flock through a time of war until he meets the time of peace. And when I talk about don't pick a fight with my shepherd, I want to refer to chapter 13, verse 7 of Zechariah, where it says, "Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, against the man who is my companion, says the Lord of hosts. Strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered, and I will turn my hand against the little ones." It's a dare. It is an invitation to war with the shepherd. Don't pick a fight with my shepherd, because in chapter 14 it says, "Behold, the day of the Lord is coming, and your spoil will be divided in your midst. For I will gather all the nations to battle against Jerusalem." This goes on to describe the pillaging and ravishing of the city of Jerusalem in the last days. And that time is coming. And then see what happens here. It says, "Then the Lord will go forth and fight against those nations as he fights in the day of battle. In that day, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, which faces Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall be split in two from east to west, making a very large valley. Half of the mountain shall move toward the north, and half of it toward the south. Then you shall flee through my mountain valley." That is the shepherd leading his flock through the valley of the shadow of death. It's not just this sense that David is writing in. This is prophetic. This is going to happen. This day is coming. The shepherd is going to shepherd his people through battle. Thus, the Lord my God will come and all the saints with you. After this battle, after the culmination of everything, and Jesus Christ has led his armies and his flock into Jerusalem to the temple, it says, and in that day it shall be that living waters shall flow from Jerusalem, and the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day it shall be, the Lord is one, and his name one. Psalm 23 is going to happen. It's a reality. Psalm 23 prophetically speaks to the coming day of Zechariah 14. And when I say don't pick a fight with my shepherd, let's see what happens. It says, and this shall be the plague with which the Lord will strike all the people who fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall dissolve while they stand on their feet. Their eyes shall dissolve in their sockets, and their tongues shall dissolve in their mouths. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great panic from the Lord will be among them. It's going to be judgment day. So, Psalm 23, to sum it up, it is a forward look at the coming kingdom, at the coming king, at the coming battle that the shepherd will lead his people through and fight for on their behalf. I love it. And so the Lord is my shepherd. Don't pick a fight with him. I'll see you next time. Day of battle out.